like to welcome you to your new airport terminal. Just a moment of housekeeping before I begin the program. First of all, if you would, take a moment and turn off your cell phones. Thank you very much. Also, I'm pleased to report that our bathrooms are operational. If any of you need any facilities while you're here to refresh yourselves, there are bathrooms both behind you in that direction and also downstairs and below. Okay, so please do help yourselves. Going over the program this morning, I'll begin with a welcome followed by invocation by Pastor Eric Jones of the Bible Church Ministries. You will then receive remarks from Chairman Barbara IKNER, Vice Chairman Paul Buchanan, Commissioner Jack Bright, Commissioner W.C. Jarman, and Commissioner HEIR-WILLIAMS. Remarks and recognitions will be given by Mr. Keith Fountain, who is the chairman of our Airport Advisory Commission. And there are a lot of individuals that we would like to thank for all of this. So I know Mr. Fountain will be giving you a little bit more information about what brought us here today. Closing remarks will be given by Mr. David Cotton, our Deputy County Manager. We do have a little bit more work to do on the building, of course. We're not quite done, but we're awfully close to completion, as you can see. Tours will be offered as well immediately following the reception, and we would like to show you all of this building before our security systems with the federal government come in, sanitize it, and lock it down. So today you have a unique opportunity to see all the workings of an airport, and we have a lot of individuals that will be offering you tours. Before I go any further, I would like to take just a moment. There are two individuals that work very hard to bring us to where we're at today, and they're no longer with us. Commissioner Lionel Midget, who is here, traveled with myself and a couple of other individuals to Atlanta when we were first seeking some of the $33 million in grant funding to build this facility. He worked for this and voted for this. And also Mr. Larry Johnson, who sat on the Airport Advisory Commission. Both of those individuals were lost to this community. If you would, before I go any further, may we have a moment of silence in recognition of the contributions of those two Onslow County citizens. Thank you. I also noted in the audience that Miss Sudie Midget, the wife of Commissioner Lionel Midget, is with us. Miss Sudie, thank you for joining us. So, first impressions. First impressions are very important, aren't they? You can make a good first impression, and it's wonderful. And maybe it's not that hard to do, but if you make a bad first impression, it's hard to recover from that. So what does this new terminal building say as a first impression to the over 500,000 people that go through Albert J. Ellis every year? I believe that it says that we are modern, that we're safe, that we're professional, and not through the brick and mortar, but through the staff members that work here, the county staff, the airline staff, even the rental car agencies, the people that will be operating the restaurant. It says that Onslow County is friendly and welcoming. And then they go past this front door and they come into the community and they meet you. And that first impression is confirmed. They know that our community has a real sense of pride and that we're something special. Now, they do not know a few facts that you will learn this morning. Facts such as that this building came in on time and it is under budget. Or that it was built primarily with grant funding that your county government received from the federal government and from the state government. And certainly, they don't have an appreciation for the tremendous time and effort put in by both our volunteers and our county staff and our partners at the state and at the federal government to make this a reality. So this morning, please enjoy your visit here. Know that this is your new front door, your new modern terminal. Thank you for your continuing faith in Onslow County, and thank you for your presence here this morning. Now, as we move forward, I'd call on Pastor Eric Jones of the Bible Church Ministries to provide us with an invocation. After that, the commissioners will come up, beginning with our chairman, and I'd ask that each commissioner simply come up in succession, followed by Mr. Keith Fountain, and closing remarks by our Deputy County Manager, Mr. David Cotton, who, among other duties, also oversaw a lot of the construction here, along with Mr. Chris White, our airport director. Pastor.
Let us pray together. Our Father and our God, it's our privilege to come before you this morning and thank you first of all for the rich heritage and history of Onslow County. From its humble beginning with farmers and fishermen to the diversity we see and enjoy today, we thank you for your many blessings and for leaders, men and women with visions and faith to see those visions come to reality. One of those visions and its reality we are here to preview today, and we thank you and ask your continued blessings upon it. We thank you for all that are here today and all who have been involved in bringing this vision to reality. May your grace and mercy and love always be upon us, and we pray for continued leaders with the vision of progression. After all, your word has affirmed that without a vision, the people perish. We thank you and praise you in the name that's above every name, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Let all God's people say amen.
Good morning and welcome to you all. If the commissioners seem just a little giddy this morning, it's because we have never had anything that we are so proud of as we are here today. You know, oftentimes...
in designated areas. Smoking while walking throughout the building.
Smoking and walking, okay. But oftentimes, leaders of your community are expected to be clairvoyant. We're supposed to know what the future is going to be in our county, and we're supposed to prepare and plan for it, so when those needs arrive, we're ahead of the need and we've got everything handled. But without any extra powers that God has not given us to see the future, the only thing we can do is look to the past, evaluate the present, and make decisions on what we believe the future will be. In 1971, 44 years ago, the old terminal was built. Our population was a little over 100,000 people. Today, we're looking at 200,000 people. The needs for an airport improvement and upgrades and enlargement have been something that we've been thinking about for many years. But we didn't want to just think of what we need in 2015. We want to know what are we going to need in 2050. So the design of this building has been with both ends to where we can knock out and expand. This is classified as the core. So as future growth and future needs come, those needs will be simpler for those boards of commissioners to meet the needs of our citizens. This facility today generates about $3.5 million in local taxes. It's about $191 million to our economy. So this is a huge part of what Onslow County has to plan on for growth and development, and it starts right here. We are so proud that we were able to do this, complete this project, bring this project to the citizens of Onslow County with no local property taxes being used whatsoever. That's what good leadership does, ladies and gentlemen. You look for creative ways to achieve those goals for today and for future generations. Thank you, Board of Commissioners, for the support. Thank you, Chris White, for your help. David Cotton for making sure everything got done under budget. We appreciate that. And thank you, citizens, for having the faith in this Board of Commissioners to give us the support that we need to move this county forward. Thank you. Vice Chair.
I believe Barbara said it all. I mean, there's not much more that I could add to it. This is a great day in Onslow County, and I'm very excited. But there's a lot of movers and shakers in this room that are standing around watching us work as commissioners, the vision that we have is a great vision, but if it wasn't for some of the people in the audience that have helped us, Lewis Sewell's here, I know, Billy Sewell's here, Dr. Lingle, there's several more of you that I know that I've worked very close with. We listen to you, what you have to say. I remember one phrase that an individual told me one day, said, I do not want the lights to go out in downtown Jacksonville. And that was just one of the visions that we started with, was the jail. And now we have all these other visions. This beautiful air facility and this airport that we have and terminal is going to be great. I mean, I'm just like a little kid. I had to get on the escalator a while ago and go up and down it just to see how it worked. But it's amazing to have this in our county, but it's the people of Onslow County that have helped us. You tell us what you want, we listen, and we do what we think is correct. And this Board of Commissioners, the vision that we have is a great vision, and there's more to come in Onslow County. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming today and taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us and look at the facilities. And this is just one of the facilities that Onslow County government has had come online this year. The library in Sneads Ferry. We just had a groundbreaking for Dixon Middle School, which is a big project. The government center, which is in Burton Park, that was another big facility. County government is growing with facilities, and also Onslow County is growing. Richlands has a 21% increase in new development, with Swansboro being next in line with 15% new development. All the other localities has a 10 and 12% increase since 2009. So Onslow County is really moving forward, and the people of Onslow County can be proud of this facility. I look at this airport as an economic development tool. People, when they locate here and when they try to establish businesses here, they look at the airport as transportation. They look at our school system. They look at our hospital. They look at our infrastructure with Onwassa putting in more water facilities, more water and sewer facilities, and that just makes people come here because they have those facilities and infrastructure to put in place. The airport itself had a member on the board, and it was already mentioned. Jeff, thanks for mentioning Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson was on the airport advisory board. He was an icon to not only the airport, but an icon for Onslow County. And the ones of you that knew him loved him and loved what he did. The other person, Commissioner Lionel Midget, thank you, Ms. Sudi, for being here again, was instrumental in voting for and supporting the airport, the library in Sneads Ferry, the government complex, the justice complex, which is a huge facility downtown. It's all moving forward, and it's just a pleasure to see this facility now, because there's a lot of people, as mentioned earlier, that comes through here and sees what we have as far as the airport. When military personnel deploy, their family flying here, most of them to Albert Ellis, and when they come home, they also fly in here to Albert Ellis to welcome their loved ones home. So it's not just a county citizens operation, it's a government operation with our military. So thanks for coming today, and take a tour and look at the facilities. And I will mention that this is the only building in Onslow County that has an escalator in it. So like Vice Chair said, get on it and ride it. And it is two ways, you know, you can come up one way, and I asked the girl when I come in, I said, is there another way we go down? And she said, yeah, the other side's on the other side. Thank you much. Mr. W.C. Jarman.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think about everything has been said here. I don't know a whole lot I could add, except I will go back to 1966 when some of us in here remember when we were arguing over the bond issue to start the first airport. So I have been fortunate and blessed enough that I've seen the first airport that Onslow County ever had from the ground up. And I've been fortunate enough to see this nice facility here to replace it. So I have seen Onslow grow tremendously in the years of my life. And it's only because of the citizens of Onslow County, because there's not no one group of people can accomplish these things. So there's just so many groups to thank for standing with the government of Onslow County that we can provide something like this and the other buildings that have been mentioned. So I'm just proud to live in Onslow County, and I just invite anybody to come and just take one little taste of Onslow County and they'll stay here. And that's my remarks for this morning.
Good morning, everyone. It is a privilege and a great honor to see the growth, the progression, the innovation here in this community that continues to move forth. I feel like Onslow County is like this beacon of light that has entered into the domain of society. And I tell you, when I look around and I see the great leaders in this community and to work with such great commissioners, it is such a privilege to stand here before you and see everyone in this community come together. When I walked into this building, I said to Madam Chair, I said, what does it feel like to have taken a concept, a thought, something that was in the mind, and to see such greatness built on a concept? I am telling you, we have something to be very proud of in this community. I will go so far as to say we have a lot of things to be very proud in this community. The former commissioners have mentioned all the contributions, all the great things that we've accomplished as a community, and still we rise to go forth and do greater works. I'm excited, I'm honored, it's a privilege to serve such a great community of great leaders. God bless Onslow County.
On behalf of the Airport Advisory Board, I want to thank all of y'all for attending today. As been pointed out earlier, this is a work in progress. It is not complete, because once it's complete, we could not be doing this today once it's turned over and become secure. So that is the reason you're seeing some unfinished items around, but I do want to thank each of you for coming. I would like to introduce the members of the board that are here. I see Vice Chairman Tootin. Garland Tootin is sitting over here. I told him yesterday I had laryngitis today, a bad case of laryngitis, and he was going to have to be up here this morning, and he promptly planned a trip somewhere, but I'm glad to see he canceled it. We have Leno Lewis, who has been with the airport board longer than I, which if that's possible, and I do want to thank you for all your service in this. I saw Pat Farmer, who also has been serving on the board even longer than I. And thank you, Pat, for your service. Did I miss? I think that's everyone that is here. Mike Loudermilk could not make it. Bill Smalls has had some health issues, and of course we have the biggest loss of all, of course, with Larry Johnson, who was very active in this airport and very active on the board. Mike just walked in. I'm sorry. He was standing out there at the food table. I should have known. But thank you, Mike, for your service. But we do want to thank all of you for being here. This is a dream that has come to true. In 2009, we had a fairly new airport director, and Chris White, and he came to us and said, TSA says we have to redo this airport. We're not going to allow these $1 million plus luggage screeners to be left out in the lobby. So of course, in 2009, we looked at the cost of adding on, I think for the 7th time, to the existing building. And then Chris introduced a novel idea along with Tom Slater, who is with RSNH, one of the advisors here to the airport, of building a new terminal. When he put out the first project, of course, Leno's eyes go about that big around when we start talking about the amount of money that it was going to take to build a terminal of this size. But then, thanks to a partnership that was forged between the federal government, the FAA grant program, which made a substantial investment in this airport, and it would allow us to have a new terminal, we could not have done without them. We were able to at least get off of the ground, it appeared. Then we went to, the FAA, it was my understanding, was planning on having some representatives here today, but due to the standard budget uncertainties in Washington, they canceled all their travel, was my understanding. So we went to the state first, then we went to the federal first, then we went to the state. We talked to various representatives of the state, and some of them were here today. I think for the State House, Mr. George Cleveland's here. Thank you for attending, and thank you for...
Smoking is permitted in designated areas only. Please refrain from smoking while walking throughout the building.
But thank you for your support on it. Then we went to the Department of Transportation. We have a representative here, Sandra Fountain from the Department of Transportation, and her predecessor, I don't know if Mike Alford, but Lewis Sewell's already been mentioned. They, of course, always supported this airport. Then, of course, the hard part came. After the advisory board became convinced, we had to appear before the real stewards and the people who watch after Onslow County's money and go before the county commissioners. Of course, I should have known that Jeff and his staff had already shown them how it could be done, but we had a meeting back in, I think, 2011. This all started in 2009, but this time it's 2011. We had a meeting out here at the airport, and I'm proud to say we had a unanimous consensus among the Board of Commissioners that we should move forward with this. Of course, none of this would be available or happening without the services that we get from both Delta and now American, US Air at the time. They've been very instrumental in working with us, adding flights, negotiating lower fares here that resulted in more and more services here today. And of course, our military partners have been very instrumental and had say so. They send a representative to every board meeting who is very knowledgeable of airport operations. He comes from the air station, and he does attend the actual meetings, and he's a great asset to us to learn things, and we do appreciate all the contributions that from the military side of the community have made here today. We then, with RS&H's help, we started design. Tom Slater, who could not be here today, he's designing an airport, I think, in Hawaii, and for some reason he chose that over being here today. But he is there today, he could not be here. But his team members are here, who were the architects that came in and planned all of what you see today. They replanned as we ran into some problems along the way with soil and everything else that you normally find. And Balfour Beatty, which is the contractor, what's called a contractor at risk. I think this is the first project that was ever been completed in Onslow County under this program, where we were basically guaranteed it would not exceed X number of dollars, and if it's less, we get some of the money that's less. And it worked out real favorable thanks to the hard work of Jeff, David, Chris, and other members of the airport staff, and the hard work of Balfour Beatty representatives, and we do appreciate it. This airport is built in a kind of a unique piece of land. We have the headwaters of Southwest Creek. Believe it or not, those that drove in today crossed it when they came in. Most people don't realize that culvert there is the actual headwaters of the Southwest Creek. So this end of the airport the water flows to the New River. This end goes to the Northeast Cape Fear. So, and this is one of the highest spots in the county. So you say, well, we probably wouldn't have any soil problems here. Well, in 1971, they probably didn't. But now with the federal regulations on wetlands, things of that nature, it seems like everywhere we wanted to do anything, the cost, or we were prohibited, or either the cost exceeded the estimated cost. In order to do the site work, was more than double what was projected to be based upon other airports because of this. And of course, this resulted in some downsizing of some of the earlier designs, which RS&HN worked with it. We then had the other obstacles, of course. We had a great design, which I thought was very ingenious. We would have one kitchen serve two places. This is what we call the air side, or the post-security side. And also we would have we would cook, all the kitchen items and everything would occur on this side of the house, and then it could be passed through to the other side, so there'd only have to be one kitchen operating, which for this size of airport, that made sense. We had it all set up, built to that, and you notice the restaurant part is not finished. The one company that had been approved to do the pass-through system went out of business after we had everything already designed. So we're working, and Chris, and I keep referring to Chris White, our airport director, is the one who basically came up with the idea, in my opinion, to build this new terminal. Even though the need was done, he's the one that put it together. He has been here, he's been the one that's handled all of these problems as they came up with the help of Jeff, David, and the county commissioners, of course. He has a background in construction at both, at Dallas, Fort Worth, and Raleigh, Durham for their new terminal, and he's been very involved in this. He saw that an economic impact that we talked about earlier from this airport needed a new terminal. And while we learned on the board all of the things that FAA grants can and cannot be used for, we found that one of the items that it could not be used for is any type of general aviation facilities or rental car, restaurant, things of that nature. All of that had to be paid for from other sources. We were able to, because of the design and the very real property constraints, the property line is very close here. The only place that the terminal really would fit is here, which resulted, as part of the grant, the old terminal having to be torn down. Through some rather great work, we were able to say that because they were being forced to be torn down, the FAA should help build a new general aviation facility. They agreed. And we have now a new general aviation terminal, which you can see over my left shoulder here, that is soon to be completed, which will serve the business people that may be flying in on corporate planes and jets. We have a new operator of the FBO, Volo Aviation, which agreed to make a substantial contribution into the cost of the new building, which for the general aviation, which it could not have been built without. So as you see, there are numerous people that have been involved and pots that have been stirred, so to speak, in order to get the funds to build this facility. The citizens of Onslow County, of course, without their support, we would not be here, because the utilization of this airport has resulted in us being able to build it. And as I find out more and more when I'm out here, it's not just the citizens of Onslow County. Duplin County, Pender County, Jones County, all are utilizing this airport and beyond. And they are going to see when they come into this airport that this is a vibrant community, a community that wants to grow, that wants business here. And we hope this will help attract new people into the neighborhood. Of course, throughout the construction process, Chris has kept his sanity, and so has David and Jeff, which we are to be commended on. We have looked to various subcontractors through Balfour Beatty and through other projects here. And of course, the community college has provided us numerous skilled employees that have come out here, and this has resulted in this property being completed with a substantial input from local and small businesses. We have almost 25% of the work that was done here was done through minority qualified contractors, which I think is a large statement to the community college for keeping having those trades being taught at the community college level that will be beneficial to them and to this community. We have an airport here with the economic impact of a little less of $200 million a year. Over 340 people. Employment is based upon this airport. It's hard to realize whenever you look around the economic impact that this airport has on this community until you hear those numbers and realize that they are the correct numbers. Those are numbers that the state of North Carolina has provided us, not something that Chris, Jeff, David came up with. This is straight from the state. We have seen people talk about us here about how convenient the airport is, that we are now going to be able to provide services only found at much larger airports. We have, and I think the one that's the most excitement about today, other than the escalator, is the chairs. About 50% of the chairs have chargers on them, so you can charge phones and iPads while you're sitting in the chair, which that seems to be a lot of excitement to a lot of the people here today. But we do want to thank each of you for your support. We know if it was not for the visionary work of Chris White, Jeff Hudson, David, the county commissioners, we could not be here today. But we know the real reason we're here is the citizens of Onslow County and our surrounding communities. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Being the last person, there are truly very few new points that I could cover, so I will be brief. It is truly a privilege to be in Onslow County during this unprecedented time of growth in our infrastructure, and more importantly, I would say the investment. And it really does start and stop with the commissioners. Staff can have vision, ideas, but it really starts and stops with the commissioners being able to say, yes, we're going to borrow that money. Yes, we're going to finance this, and it may not be what we need today, but it will meet the needs of the future. It has been almost a quarter of a century, I think, since we have seen this level of investment in our infrastructure, and I know that for decades to come, the community, the visiting public, I would say the gateway that we have here today will serve as a diamond for Onslow County.